Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have Lev, Malcolm, and myself here, unleashed on Raw and Unfiltered. Hello to each and every one of you on this almost 250th anniversary of our country, despite the horrific passing by the House in record time, by the way, of the big, beautiful bill. Malcolm, Lev, are we paying attention today?
He's getting his crayon notebook. He's getting his notes he made with his crayons.
I mean, I'm almost at a loss for words today when I start to think about the 17 million Americans who are going to be hit out of luck very, very soon when they ultimately find out that their Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security is going to start getting tapped into. They're going to have issues regarding healthcare, and I'm talking about for the elderly, for children, for obviously the sick. And okay, let me begin by just saying this is not my boat. All right. Right now I happen to be a guest on a friend's boat because it's his wife's birthday. Okay. So let me begin by saying that I am a guest, and we're gonna cut it a little bit shorter than normal only because I do actually have to go down to the birthday party. But I didn't want to lose the opportunity after everything that's happened today to spend time with all of you, even though Lev once again is playing Houdini and disappeared. Malcolm, obviously, I'm certain that you watched today's events unfold.
I did.
What's your take?
Well, first off, the first take right out of the box is you cannot trust a Republican. You cannot. They have no core. They have no principles. They are a Politburo. They are a Soviet-styled body whose sole function is to rubber stamp whatever Donald Trump says. And the 10 holdouts, I throw that in quotes, who were there were really holding out for clout. They were clout chasing, with exception of Massey and Sullivan. I'm quite surprised. Even people who were retiring, like Don Bacon. Don Bacon was a huge supporter of Ukraine. Trump just betrayed Ukraine a couple of days ago. Don Bacon, who was acting like a moderate, voted for it, voted to proceed, and voted for this also. And he's retiring. So I just find it absolutely fascinating. But look, the Republican Party is a cult now. It is not a political body. It does not think on its own. There is no Republican Congress. There is only a group of people who live for the existence of the acceptance of the dictator they now have, Donald Trump.
Lev?
I mean, what can I say? I mean, the bill it's very upsetting. There's no going back right now. I mean, things that we've been talking about now are actually going to come to fruition. We have millions of Americans that are going to lose health care. It's going to affect a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. You're watching already the effects. Some urban hospital or urban hospitals are already looking to start shutting down because the funding is going to dry up. I mean, Kentucky, a red state alone, I think, is going to get hit one of the hardest. So it's sad. It's sad to see that this is, and it's sad to see how the way they're acting. And when Malcolm says it's a cult, I absolutely say it. I've been saying it all along.
I have to agree though with Malcolm on something. I don't. This is not about Trump, and I refuse to allow mainstream, lamestream cable news bullshit media to turn around and to basically make this about Trump. This is not. This is about the weak-kneed, the kneecapping by the Republican members of Congress who you voted for, meaning America voted for. And all of a sudden, this is now, I'm going to abdicate my responsibility to my constituents. I'm going to turn around and to harm the people that put me in office simply because I fear a primary. simply because I fear a mean post on Truth Social, simply because Trump is going to say something mean about me on
No, I'm hearing
Fox News.
Michael, I'm
This
hearing
is about them. This isn't about him.
No, Michael, it's getting worse than that. I mean, they're getting threats, literal threats, and also Trump is putting people into authority. Like just recently, January 6th, there was a
Right.
Parliament is now going to be part of the ICE group.
And
To
why?
some extent.
A man who was
Yeah.
charged with
Right.
attempting to kill a policeman.
Correct. Right. So just so what I'm saying to you is what I'm hearing is, especially with Don Bacon. I'm gonna, I'm not giving them anything any way
Mike
out. They're
Lawler.
spineless. But I'm saying to you, you saw what Fitzpatrick did yesterday. I mean, he literally just disappeared. That all had to do with Ukraine,
Okay.
though.
Except Lev, Malcolm. You're two people, as am I, that let's say the Republican Party are not too happy with, right?
Yeah.
I certainly know because I know what they did to me in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't bend the knee to the Republican Party. I didn't bend the knee to a king or a monarch or a dictator or a ruler, and neither should they. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care what threats that they get, threats of primaries, threats of what? Physical threats against them? I don't buy that bullshit, not for a second. This is because they are feckless, they are spineless, they are weak-kneed, and they capitulated because they didn't want to lose power themselves, because they didn't want to lose the ability to go to Mar-a-Lago whenever the hell they want to go play golf or to go have a lunch with Trump. That's what it's all about. It's not a Trump issue. It's a GOP issue.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean overall, I agree with you. But I agree, but some of these constituents, some of these places, and there is no going back. I mean, Bacon or Massey or any of these guys are not going to play golf with Trump anymore. I mean that bridge is burned, and there's no going. The fact that's the interesting part. I mean, like he's retiring and he still voted on this bill. That's the disgusting part. You know what I'm saying?
That's my point. That's my point.
That's the disgusting part. The fact that they could, dealt with but the guys that are retiring, the guys that are walking away and still voted yes for this bill. I mean, unless, listen, I mean, you never. He made phone calls yesterday. I'm still trying to find out what those. I mean, he called these guys individually while they were. I mean, calling from the White House. I mean, who knows how he threatened them with investigations of some kind? Who knows what they have on? I mean, he could just think about it, guys. He controls the DOJ. He
Right.
controls the FBI. Who, for all we know, because Kash Patel might have put tab on all these congressmen. He might have dirt on each and every one of them on some and he called them up and said, "Hey, hey, this is gonna happen." I mean, Trump is who he is, Michael. You know him better than anybody. I mean,
Or
you wouldn't put it
or
past him. I mean,
or
having that type of power to be able to do it. I mean, wise guys do it all the time.
or they just decided that they're happier with the power, knowing that they're going to have increased power because this cult party has basically stripped our entire constitution. It's stripped our laws, and they want to be a part of it. And
Right.
so they're willing to turn around and to say to their constituents, go fuck yourself in Macy's window. I don't care. All right. I'm going to remain in power because there's nothing you could do about it so
Right.
long as I pledge allegiance to the leader.
And that's exactly right. This is exactly about, for a very long time, I couldn't understand the meaning of the word power when people were talking about money and power. Now I'm seeing it. Power is the ability to make people do things they don't want to do and to do whatever you want to do. And these people have decided Trump is now backed by the global oligarchy, not just the American top billionaires in the world, until just recently, the richest man in the world. Even if Elon Musk cuts away, every person below him at Tesla, SpaceX is going to be kowtowing to him. Every other oligarch in the world. He has managed to gain control of the Western oligarchy in a way Putin could never do. Putin's now under sanction. They see real money here. I'm noticing that lovely yacht. There's a place years ago, what I never thought I could see. What I never understood what oligarchy was until I went to this small, tiny port in southeastern Spain. I had to pick up a submarine, or I had to get off a submarine there, and it was filled with mega yachts. And mega yachts were not allowed to park there unless they had helicopter hangars, right? They had helicopter pads. And I met one of the owners. This place was called, at the time it was very small. Now it's huge. It was called Puerto Banús. And the only people who knew about Puerto Banús were the people wealthy enough to know about Puerto Banús. You couldn't go there, you order a espresso, it's $7. This is just one of those places. That money that exists above governments, that is where the Trump has managed to harness power. By being reelected, he has told the world, I am now going to make money, use money, and abuse and loot the entire United States government. And there's not a fucking thing you or anyone can do about it. I interviewed Dahlia Lithwick today, the constitutional scholar. She says the Supreme Court has now decided they are a wholly owned subsidiary of the White House. They will do whatever he asks. They will change laws back and forth just for him. And they will abuse anyone who comes after him. They'll
So
remove
what do you
those
think
laws.
ends up happening then in 2026 midterms?
Well, I think
Do you think we even have midterms?
I don't think
Because
I
Thank
don't.
as I
you.
said,
Thank you. Thank you.
It's what I
You
said
guys.
before.
Finally, I'm telling you. Listen, I want to just talk about that because I was on earlier on Substack with Joy Reid and Wajid, and we were
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about the same exact subject, and this is what we were talking about right now. Trump's next big plan, and he said it right where it is called. What's it called? Election.
interference.
Not interference. Election.
Denial? No, not denial. You're talking about election suppression, voter suppression.
Right, he's about to start doing election, but he's
Massive.
calling it. It's his new project.
Election integrity.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm skipping is it's missing me right, but he's right now. That's the next program. That's what now because if you take a look, that's why none of these. I mean, these guys are not crazy in Congress. They understand. I mean that they're gonna in the midterms they're gonna get primaried, and especially this bill, the Democrats are gonna be running. And forget about even you don't have leadership in the whole Democrat Party, but each and every race is going to be using this bill, especially to be throwing in their faces because of what's going to take place. So that is why I think more than ever right now, especially with this project, election reform. Thank you, reform. There we go.
Mhm.
That's what he called it. He called it election reform, and that's his new project that he's gonna him and Stephen Smith, not Stephen Smith, Stephen Miller. I'm only
Yeah.
gonna say.
I had this discussion with Dahlia, and I brought up a term that I had coined in my book, The Plot to Destroy Democracy. We have now become, and today it's official, right? A constitutional autocracy, where the Constitution is now a fig leaf. And she said, well, in fact, the famous scholar, what was his name? Ernst Frankel, wrote a book talking about the duality of governments in Nazi Germany. They created the laws for everyone else who they hated, and they had a set of laws for them, which made everything they did legal. Everything they did was legal. Turning Anne Frank in was legal. Hiding Anne Frank was a felony crime. And I said, well, we're essentially going there. And she says, it's already happened. The Supreme Court now works for him. And, the courts are on their last leg. They are now been gutted in
Which
such a
is
way
to
that,
me the most amazing thing in the world because I've spoken to so many constitutional law professors on
yeah,
this. And one would think when the founding fathers of this country created this concept of a tripartite system of government, a government divided into three co equal branches to keep checks and balances on the other.
Mm.
And the legislative branch could not act out of turn because you would have the judiciary stopping them. And if not the judiciary, the executive. And then if the executive got out of control, you would have the legislative branch or the judiciary go ahead and put a stop to it. But here we've already watched as they have bent the knee. They have all come to kiss the ring because they control the House and the Senate. And on top of that now, you are having a judiciary that's willing to yield all of its power to the executive branch. They're
Yep.
willing to confer all of their power to the chief executive, who is
This,
namely the president. And at
but
which point in time, that person is no longer a president. That
but
person is a monarch, a dictator, a supreme leader, a king, whatever you want to call him.
this is one of the questions I asked was, has the Supreme Court no longer decided to become a court, and they are now a six-person star chamber, where they are now determining who gets rights, who they take rights from. And one of the things that I constantly bring up is the movie Judgment at Nuremberg with Spencer Tracy. If you have not watched it, tonight is the day to watch it. The trial that was going on in Judgment at Nuremberg was called the Juris trial. And it was the trial of the surviving Nazis who ran the German Supreme Court, the Nazi Supreme Court. And that's the character, not Richard Burton. I can't remember his name. Who plays the top Nazi in there? Is the surviving heads of the Supreme Court? Most of the judiciary committed suicide, by the way. The justice minister and all the rest, and he spoke about how they authorized Hitler to do everything. Project T4, the euthanasia of almost 100,000 German citizens, everyone who was mentally ill, everyone who had mental retardation, everyone who had any incapacity, autism, disability, quadriplegics, every one of them got a fentanyl shot to the heart. And that was ruled by law as lawful by the Nazi judiciary. And as I said to her today, I wrote this list. We have a secret police that, by the way, today was given a budget higher than the budget of the U.S. Army. The U.S. Army's budget is $160 billion.
It's higher than most countries.
And yes, higher
Most
than
countries.
all ministry. It will now become a police organization. Get these numbers. That will be stronger than the combined force of the FBI, the DEA, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, the Bureau of Prisons. All of them together will be a smaller force than ICE, which is now operating as a secret police. And now somebody said today, their budget is so big, right? They will run the largest constellation of gulags and concentration camps.
And by the way,
bigger than the entire Bureau of Prisons.
And Malcolm, and what nobody's talking about today, but it's because so much craziness is slipping under the radar. They just sent 700 Federal Reserves down to Florida to help out. So we now got the federal guards now coming to. Now we have
the guardsmen that they're going to domine, make
down,
judges.
Trump just issued the guardsmen down to Florida to help out with alligator, crocodile, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but did you hear? They're not sending these guys down who are JAG officers, judge advocate generals. They're sending regular guardsmen, and they're going to run them through a legal course, and they will be deputized by the Department of Justice as immigration judges.
Judges, yes.
I shit you not.
Yes, to speed up the process.
Hey, Malcolm. Where does this end up leaving us? And Lev, I want you to answer it afterwards. What happens?
Damn, I don't even want to think about it.
You know that there's no way in the world that Americans are going to end up putting up with this bullshit down the road. Right now, everybody, I think, is just in shock. I think there is a numbing effect that's going on right now at this moment. But when people can't afford their insulin, You get a phone call from mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, sister, brother, cousin, whatever, friend. Can't afford my insulin. Can you help?
Mhm.
When you turn around and you have to drive your kid 150 miles to see a doctor, when you're so far away from a cardiologist that by the time that they show up, even with a helicopter, you've already been dead an hour.
Yeah.
There comes a point in time that the American people turn around and say, I wasn't born into an autocracy. I wasn't born
Burt
into a
Lancaster.
country that is authoritarian. I was born as an American, and I want my fucking rights. And if you're not willing to give them to me, well, now we got a problem. And
Yeah.
we're a problem because as a country, we are privately the most militarized country in the world.
Mhm. Yeah.
This
Well,
isn't
that's
gonna this isn't gonna
and
go
that's
well.
just my house. Uh, you I mean, look, MAGA,
Michael,
when I
you
wrote my
can't have a
last
gun. Unfortunately, people like me and you because
yeah, you guys can't have guns. Don't worry. I got you back. Somebody else has got 'em for you. And
Absolutely,
Ed's
we
good
can. There's legislation right now that
to restore.
if it's a nonviolent crime, that your Second Amendment rights should not be stripped from you
I think
on
these
a
guys. I
non.
think this is one thing they'll do. This I guarantee they'll pass. The Second Amendment right. I don't think they're gonna. Go ahead, Malcolm. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, my point is that my version of this is that this suddenly launches us to where people now understand, and I don't mean MAGA. Fuck MAGA. Those people voted for this. They accepted every fucking lie. I heard a congressman say on CNN today that this is the greatest thing that has ever happened to Medicare and Medicaid was this bill. And they were like, oh, there's 1.4 million illegal immigrants on Medicaid, right? And that there's all these people who are lazy on there who are getting kicked off. Here's what's going to happen. You might recall this. We are now at the uninsured numbers before Obamacare. Every fucking one of those people now has to use the emergency room as basic care. And here's the kicker. Maybe up to 40% of rural hospitals will close. And I have a sneaky feeling if I were to go look in there, I would find that this was a carve out that was done deliberately for private urgent care clinics that are all for profit and don't take insurance, right?
Yeah.
People that are going to have to pay up yourselves. And this is just utterly disgraceful. We are now we have organized a police state. We have now organized a takeover of government. The only fucking time the Republicans ever showed up to vote was to rubber stamp the will of a dictator. So, you know me, I believe we're going to revolution, but a peaceful revolution where I'm telling you, 76 million people voted for Kamala Harris. Where the fuck are you?
Well, you know what? I'm glad you asked that because I was just going to jump in, and nobody says it actually better than Lev. But right now we're about 1,600 people with us. I can't say that I'm thrilled with the number. I can't say I'm disappointed with the number. Would have preferred to see 16,000, 160,000, 1.6 million people. There's 75 million people, 75 million Americans did not vote. They were so apathetic to the election. I can't vote for a black woman, but
Mhm.
I can't stand him, so I'm not voting at all.
Right.
Okay. Well, what would you do if it was today? Knowing what you know right now, would you actually get up off your lazy ass and turn around and go to the fucking voting booth or just do a mail-in ballot? Just do a mail-in ballot. But right now, there is no election going on. But you know what is going on? Unleashed, Raw and Unfiltered, Lev, Malcolm, myself. That's what's going on. So where the hell are you?
Yeah.
Where are you?
someone just texted us, tell us what to do. All right. Yeah, we can tell you what to do, but the first thing you have to do is you must also cross pollinate what you know from this forum. You need to take this to other people and say, Substack, all these big, major, famous Substacks are the only place you're getting legitimate information from. I
Okay,
don't listen to
I have to.
fucking
I just got
nobody.
to. I got to stop you because
Okay.
what happens is, you know, while we're here trying to build a community like this, Kristen or Caitlin, whatever your name is. I'm on a boat. Is it my boat? No. Is it any different than if you go into a restaurant? You don't own the restaurant. You're eating. I am a guest at a birthday party.
Yeah.
And while that party is going on here for a friend of mine, a 40-year friend of 40-year friend of mine who happens to have a boat. All right. It's not a Jeff Bezos boat. It's a boat. All right.
Mhm.
So yes, I happen to be on a boat at a birth, but I'm not even at the party. I'm here with you, you
Mhm.
asshole. Asshole. All right. I'm taking away from the few joyous moments that I'm trying to be able to, to have, because
Yeah.
I would not come on to our show. I would never do that to Lev, to Malcolm, or to any of you. So if you want to poke fun that I'm on somebody's boat, what that means, does that mean it's my boat? It's no more my boat than when you go into a restaurant to
Right.
eat, that you
Right.
own the restaurant. So I want to just lay that out there right off the bat.
Yeah.
All right.
But the question on the table is, what do we do? What do we do? It doesn't matter if you're on a boat. I'm on a freaking lake. And you know why? Because my spouse is Canadian and overstayed her visa by 2 weeks. So
I'm
we had to
Canadian.
escape the United States
I'm
so she
Canadian.
would not be arrested by
You know what,
ICE.
Malcolm?
What's
Malcolm,
that?
I'm Canadian. 5 days ago, I got my Canadian
I
citizenship.
heard that.
I
You know,
did. I
but I
got
don't
my.
want to hear anybody say, I don't want to hear anybody say that, this view is me living the life of luxury. My family's literally in exile now, right? And I have to cross the border tomorrow or the next day and wonder if they're going to pull me over because I'm a detractor of Trump. We are living in an America that didn't exist 120 days ago. And you all need to freaking understand that. There's no grift going on. We're just trying to help everyone understand it. But
We're trying
number
to build.
one is you've got to be ready to share information. I don't listen to nobody but Lev and Michael or maybe Mary Trump about the personality of Donald Trump because no one else has been around him. So where
Look,
do you think I freaking come?
so
Right here.
let me be very clear about this. When you ask what can you do, the first thing we have
Ah,
to do
Minister.
right now, the first thing we must do right now, this second, is we have to make sure that our community continues to grow.
Right.
That's what has imagine if we had the community, for example, that like an Elon Musk has. He goes on and he gets 10, 20 million people responding. So imagine if instead we turned around and we said, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month from now, we're going to have the Unleashed rally in the Great Lawn on the Capitol in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everybody within 1,000-mile radius to make sure that they are there.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that's how our voices get heard. What's another thing that we do? We make sure that we're involved with our local politics. You make sure that these feckless fuckers, these spineless scumbags, all right, who you voted for or who are your elected representatives, who let your entire community down, you make sure that they get primary. You make sure that they get voted out by the Democrat or by anybody, because we cannot allow somebody to wear the congressional pin. And I'm going to go back to the tripartite system of government as the reason why. They are supposed to be protecting our Constitution, not turning it over.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely right. But I'm telling you, It is time to organize at a level we haven't seen before. You know,
Yeah.
when these Substack lives come on, please just freaking watch them. Pass it to your friends. I'm not begging you. I don't get anything out of it, right? We're not monetized like other organizations. All we're asking you to do is spread the goddamn word.
You know what you
Because
do?
now
Yeah.
we're in a different world than we were 4 hours ago, right? We have just created the largest fucking secret police force on this planet. I can't believe even my country does that. And as a Philadelphian, I'm deeply offended that the Constitution is a fig leaf now. And the only people that get it are oligarchs who have who now have control of everybody. I'm reading this article about Derek Van Orden. Derek Van Orden was a Navy SEAL, but a chief petty officer. The way I'm talking, this is how chiefs talk. We are the hard reality. And this fucker, when somebody wrote, 18 million children just lost school meals, he wrote, yes, in all caps. Well, these people are heartless. These people don't care. They have no empathy.
it's all
So
about the
shooting you
performance.
won't be half a problem.
It's all about the performance of cruelty.
Cruelty.
And
That's
that's
all
why, you
that
know
it
what,
is.
that's why Michael has a very good thing. He says, you know, that little box with that arrow, each and every one of you should just take that, press that's share button, and share it with your Rolodex. Just go share it with everybody in your telephone Rolodex, and share it far and wide, and let everybody hear, because everybody needs to hear what's
Yeah.
not
And
here.
there'll be clips of this
And they'll be
all
clips,
over the place.
and you gotta understand also. I mean, we're talking about things, not only while he's cutting Medicaid, while he's taking away from it. In the meantime, he's holding parades for his birthday. He's flying to Mar-a-Lago to golf whenever he wants. He's is going to have B-2 flyovers for July. I mean, there, no problem with that. You know what I'm saying to you. But when it comes to Medicaid, but I'll tell you another thing that happened today that nobody's talking about today. Vladimir Putin. I don't know if you heard, Malcolm and Michael, while he was on the call with Trump. There was a lot that went on. I'm not going to go into it because that's a show of its own, and I'm going to write a Substack letter today to update everybody on that conversation and what happened behind the scenes. But one very important thing happened today is Putin made a statement. First of all, he congratulated Donald Trump on the big beautiful bill. That's how the conversation started. Putin congratulated. Then he congratulated Trump on U.S. Independence Day. Lots of congratulations, and then he said something, and this is a quote that he said very important that I want you to listen to. He said, "Russia played no small role in the formation of American statehood."
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
current American statehood. He
current, exactly.
bought Trump lock, stock, and barrel. Wrote
I
4
mean,
books
right
on it.
out loud. I mean,
Yeah,
he made that statement today to
of
Trump.
course he did. And he's reminding him that he holds his marker, okay? And that he is in debt to Vladimir Putin, who could release a lot of information, I'm sure, not about PP tapes and stuff like that, but the details of how they engineered it, how they hacked the DNC, who was communicating secretly, right, with the Russians that was not you, all right, and other people, private emails, communications, things like that. He could destroy him if he wanted to. But Trump is on riding a high right now, and he thinks he's king of the fucking
By the
world,
way,
literally.
but let's call it for what it is. So far, when you listen to mainstream media, cable news media, and they sit there, they're like, there's no way that Trump is going to be able to get the big, beautiful bill out of the Senate fast enough within which to get to the House. And they had this artificial date of the 4th of July on Trump's desk. Let me be very clear. The House, in record speed, went through 1,000-page bill and they rubber stamped it.
Yep.
And those dozen to dozen and a half Republican Congress members who went ahead and signed on, despite the fact that they were jumping up and down, screaming left and right that there's no way in the world that they could sign on for a bill that's going to harm their own constituents. Those that ran on the premise that they would never allow Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP, Social Security to end up being put into play. Well, they did. So it's yet another win for Trump. And every time you hear them on television, these asshole pundits, you're not hearing it from Malcolm. You're not hearing it from Lev. And you sure as fucking hearing it from me. That's for sure. Where I keep saying, say whatever you want about Trump. The guy is the master manipulator. I wrote in my Substack today, this is the guy who can sell someone who's drowning a pair of goggles. Okay? He is a master salesman and a master manipulator. And
Yeah,
at
he
the end
is.
of the day,
Yeah.
so far, he is winning. So while you listen to these morons on television telling you that
No.
that he's losing and so on, the only ones that are losing are us. And the only thing that we're losing is our rights.
Right.
And the most important thing we have right now, well, this is our line, folks. This is the line what you guys think right now. Remember this word, election reform. That's the next thing. Because if he gets away with putting on these reforms that he's planning on doing with who can vote, who cannot vote, and all these different things that they're planning, that is where we have to make a stance. This is where it has to be. I don't know, I'm not a lawyer as far as where it comes down state by state, but this is going to be the main play because the one thing I still can't believe, Michael, even knowing him and everything, I can't believe that he would actually that they would send troops in again, and like get the Tab revolution. I think they're trying to do it this creative, manipulative, fear way of through the courts, destroying the Constitution, destroying the rights, and just moving on like that. So I think this is a very important step right here with his next plan, which is to do away with our election rights.
So thank you to each and every one of you. We have about 1,800 folks with us right now. Next week, we expect 4,000. Every single one of you. You ask what you can do. Like Lev said, that little square with the up arrow, share this episode,
Mhm.
share Lev's Substack platform, Malcolm's Substack platform, my Substack platform. Share it with all of your family. Share it with your friends. Share it with your neighbors, your work colleagues, your postman for all we care. Share it with everybody because this is the location right here where you're going to get the truth, whether you like it or not. But that's what you're going to get. You're going to get the truth from three people that actually know what the hell they're talking about. And with that, I just want to say thank you. I'm Lev. I'm going to give you a little sign off, and then Malcolm, we're going to let you take it home.
Okay.
I mean, folks,
All right, Michael, go to your party.
I was gonna, I was gonna say, folks. I mean, we say it all the time. We sound like broken records, but we say it because it doesn't benefit us. It benefits because we're here to try to save our democracy. We all have different reasons. We all have similar reasons. It's irrelevant. The reasons what aligns us all together is that we're human beings, and that comes first. It doesn't matter what party you belong to. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what color you are. The one thing we have in common is that we want to save our democracy. And that's why we need to stand together right now. More important, we need to be loud, we need to be clear, and we need to be vigilant on what everything that's going on, especially the next chapter, which is going to be election reform. And with that note, I just want to thank all of you that are subscribers, that are paid subscribers, that are our followers and contributors and pass the word from the beginning. And those of you that just started, welcome to the family. And those of you that are thinking about, now is the time. Now is the time to jump in. Because what you're hearing here, you're not going to hear anywhere else. And for all of my paid subscribers, right after this, in about 10-15 minutes, we're going to do our usual Q&A. So if you're not a paid subscriber, you definitely want to become one. Come on over in about 15-20 minutes and we'll do our Q&A. Ask me anything. We'll go over a lot of things happening behind the scenes.
Malcolm?
Yeah, I mean, guys, this is the time to be fired up. Now you know what it's like to be in Boston in 1774, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. When the Intolerable Acts were delivered, which said you have no right to free speech to speak against the king. You have no right to freely assemble. You have no right to have your own legislative assembly. You have no right to bear firearms. You have unless authorized by the governor, you have no right to have your own house, which can be searched at any time. You must put our soldiers in your house at your expense and feed them, and you better pay the fucking tariff on tea. welcome to your American Revolution. And if you're as outraged as I am right now, you should be thinking, this is not the America any of us grew up in. This America is 120 days old or so. We are now an autocracy. So this information stream we're talking to you about, we're just here to do it. Follow me, follow Lev, follow Michael, just to get the information. 99% of what I do is free, right? Paid subscribers are the ones who have the private chats and I'm not here for that. Just freaking get the information we're passing, because is it possible revolution is coming? Yes, a peaceful, people-powered, massive revolution. Maybe
And
we got to go out on
and
the road. I don't know, but
we
you know,
we sure are. The three of us are going on the road. Malcolm, Lev, to all of our followers, thank you. Have a great night. I'm going to go join the party. I still, again, would rather be with you guys, but I don't want to
eat
end
cake.
up. I don't want to end up losing the few dollars that I actually have left after it was taken from me from this government by having my wife walk away from me. So thank you all for joining us.
Nah.
You know,
All right. Go have a
you
good
know.
time.
Good
Go
night,
enjoy
guys.
yourself.
Bye bye.